welcome to the MACA All Activities Kickoff. I want to first of all apologize to you and thank you for your patience. We were unable to do this in person. Things are changing daily, things are changing weekly in the activity world. As we move along here, things will change. I just hope for your patience. And once we have all the answers, we'll get those answers out to you. And by the way, my name is Mark Ekron. I'm the activities director at Morris Area High School. This is starting my 10th year as the activities director. This is my 35th year in education. And usually we meet in the concert hall, but today we are in our lovely fitness center. Mr. Miller will show you around. For those of you who have not been in our fitness center, it's pretty much state of the art. It's very awesome and beautiful. And he'll give you a glimpse of what our fitness center looks like. In our fitness center, we have 10 racks, which they can lift with squats, they can do deadlifts, they can do bench press. We also have 4 stations for dumbbells. We have 29 ellipticals, treadmills, bikes, and rowing machines all in here. Also, I wanted to introduce Jody Arndt. She is the face of Morris Athletics and Activities. Jody, will you come out here, please, so people can get an idea? Both Jody and I will be doing this slide presentation for you. And like I said, everything's changing weekly and with the State High School League and activities. So here's a list of what I do know, and I'll try to give you a list of what I don't know. Right now, I do know August 17th, this coming Monday, tennis will start, girls swimming will start, boys and girls cross country will start. They will all have their season start this coming Monday, August 17th. Coaches should be reaching out to you to tell you what the starting times are. Also, what I do know, this fall they are going to have a football and volleyball practice season. What that looks like, we're not 100% sure. We're still waiting for more information from the State High School League. Also, all spring sports that were canceled last spring will also have a chance to have practice this fall. Once again, what that looks like, we're not 100% sure. Why is the State High School League doing this? The State High School League is doing this so coaches can connect with their student athletes. We still want our football, volleyball, baseball, softball, track and field, and golf coaches to be able to connect with their athletes this fall. Also, what I don't know is what the winter is going to look like. I do know that football and volleyball have been moved to the spring. What it looks like, we're not 100% sure. And then spring sports, our traditional spring sports, will start sometime in mid-May or end of May and possibly go through July. What it looks like, once again, we're not 100% sure. So stay with us as we get information. We meet as athletic directors with the Minnesota State High School League every Thursday, and every Thursday we find out more information as we go. So let's go to the slideshow. I know some of that information you wish you could have more, so do I. These are who we pair with. Chicago, Alberta pairs with us in volleyball, football, boys and girls cross country, boys and girls basketball, wrestling, boys and girls swimming, gymnastics, baseball, softball, boys and girls track and field, boys and girls golf, and tennis. And also boys hockey. Minnewaska, we're paired with Minnewaska in girls swimming and diving, which will start, remember, the 17th. Benson pairs with us in boys and girls hockey and swimming and diving for girls. And West Central pairs with us in boys hockey and tennis. And one we don't have up there is Hancock. Hancock pairs with us in gymnastics and also wrestling. MACA wrestling and MACA gymnastics. So that's the pairing that we have going on. We do know this. Right now, if we were to start school today, we'd be in person. If we're in person, we can have our activities. If we're in hybrid mode, which is some in person, some not, we can have activities. We also know if we're in mandatory distant learning, all of our activities will be shut down and all coaches will be able to connect again like they did last spring virtually. So what I don't know is what happens if our tennis team with West Central and Morris area in Chicago, Alberta, what if West Central is in mandatory distant learning, and Morris is not. We have not got information from the State High School League. They are working on that for us. Next slide, please. Here's our contact information for myself, Jody, and Jenny. Jenny is the administrative assistant over at Chicago, Alberta. If you have any questions, please contact one of the three of us. This is my purpose statements. We are not going to watch a video today with the State High School League, but every head coach has a purpose statement. Athletics and activities, there's a purpose to it. Why do we have athletics? Mine is to teach student athletics good work ethic, responsibility, respect for themselves and everybody around them, and how to handle life's issues with integrity. That is as an athletic director and a head girls track coach, my purpose statement. These are our cards we've sold the last couple of years with our sports boosters. Right now, this will let you know this is on hold. We did have a meeting with our sports boosters people, and we decided to put this on hold and make a decision here in later August if we're going to sell these or not. And we're going to get to the school website, and I'm going to bring Jody on, and she's going to explain about our school website and Notify Me.
Hi, I'd like to talk to you about our school web page, and this is where we have an event calendar for all of our athletics and activities. So by going to the school website, this is going to give you the most up-to-date information. If there's any changes due to weather, or obviously changes due to COVID, or who knows what, this is where you're going to want to be for the most up-to-date information. So on our school webpage, go to Athletics and Activities. And this is our page. We have a lot of information on our page here. This is how you can get to our YouTube channel, our Twitter channel. Here's our contact information. Over on the right-hand side, there's some links that are really important. The one I'm going to talk to you about right now is our calendar. And this is where all of the information is. Once you get used to this page, this will show you if you want to know what time your student is leaving on a bus, what time they're maybe going to get back. If you want to find a location for where an event is, all of that you can find on this website. Now, I also want to just remind you that right now it's set up the way we had it last spring. So the events on here are all going to be changing. We still have football games and everything listed on here. I don't know why that's not moving, but I'm going to go ahead and show you up at the top, this Notify Me button. This Notify Me, by signing up there, it will allow you to, and you'll have to click here, this Notify Me again. This will allow you to get emails and texts anytime there's a change made to your event. So you'll be able to choose your events by signing up here. Like for example, one year I had a student in basketball and I had a student in volleyball. So I've subscribed to both of those calendars. And then this program will actually send me a text. I can choose the time. So if I want it 1 hour before the event, 24 hours before the event, 3 days before the event, I can choose that, and it sends me a text and an email reminding me about the event and then notifying me anytime there's any changes. So you'll want to just put in your email, set up your password, you'll create your account, it'll walk you through the steps. But this Notify Me is a real game changer in my opinion. There's also a mobile app that you can sign up for. And this is kind of what I was talking to you about to view the schedules. If you had a student in, let's say, football, maybe it's too slow. And then let's say you had a daughter in diving, and then you wanted to view those schedules. It will pull up all of their information up in the right-hand corner. I used to email this schedule to grandparents. I could print it out, and I could subscribe to it so it would download onto my phone. This is pretty handy. So this is a really great website. And again, you just go there by going to the school website and our athletics and activities page. And yeah, make sure you get signed up for Notify Me.
Thank you, Jody. Jody will be back with the presentation for registration Right now, Jody tells me that our registration is open for tennis, girls swimming, boys and girls cross country. So those three will be open. If you want to learn more about our registration, at the end of this presentation, Jody's going to walk you through that. I want to talk about the sports boosters. Sports boosters represent all 19 of our sports. They do a wonderful job. They raise money. They work at events for us. They put on the football tailgating. They tailgate at track meets. They raise a lot of great money. They buy equipment, like I said, for all 19 of our sports. If you want to be a member, give Doug Anderson, he's our president right now. Give Doug Anderson a call or an email, or shoot me an email or call me. But we're always looking for members. Every year, like I said earlier, about the sports cards, they right now they're on hold. But any questions you have about being a member or trying to get on the board of Sports Boosters, give Doug Anderson a call. He'd be happy to hear from you. Volunteers. Every year we're looking for volunteers. Scorekeepers, clock keepers, line judges, football chains, track meet workers, public address. We're always looking for help. If you want to be part of Tiger Nation and help out with volleyball, maybe at a hockey game with the Storm, a wrestling meet, track and field baseball, give Jody and I a call. We're always looking for help, and we really appreciate the people that come. A lot of times we get people that volunteer and they don't want to leave, which is awesome. That's what we want. They like to be around Tiger Athletics, and that's a great thing. We'd like to thank Stevens Community Medical Center for providing Mary Belmore, our athletic trainer. Mary's here every day after school. Once school starts, she's here for all the practices at 3:15 to about 6:30. She's at every home game. She does travel with our football team, but we like to thank them. It's free of charge that Mary Belmore works for us as an athletic trainer, and we really appreciate the fact that we have Mary on board. Weight room. Right now the weight room is open. You can give Mr. Viss or Mr. Pope a call to see what time it's open for all of our students in Morris Area High School. The times right now until school start, you'd have to give Mr. Viss or Mr. Pope or give me a call. But during the school year, it'll be open Monday through Thursday mornings from 6:45 a.m. to 8 a.m. I'd like to thank the Sports Booster. Another thing the Sports Booster do, they give money to pay for supervision along with the M Club for supporting financially our weight room. And just keep in mind, it's not open on late start mornings or vacation days. We thank Mr. Torgerson, and that's Jacob Torgerson, and Mr. Viss as they are in charge of the weight room during the school year. All right, let's talk about academic eligibility. Must be passing all of your courses to be in any of our activities, whether it's fall musical, spring musical, robotics, basketball, wrestling, football, volleyball. Every 2 weeks, Jody and I will print out a sheet that has a list of students that are incomplete or failing their grade. I will talk to them personally. They'll get 3 days after I talk to them to get their grade to be passing or to be from incomplete to complete. If they get that done, they're good to go within that 3-day span. If they don't get that done, they'll be put on academic eligibility, or probation, for 7 calendar days. Yes, if your son or daughter is in academic probation, we want them to go to practice. We encourage them to go to practice. At the same time, get that grade to passing or get it to complete. More academic eligibility, a quarter grade. So let's say first, second, third quarter. If Mr. Miller is failing, for instance, he failed first quarter, wants to play basketball, he would have to sit out the first basketball game. He fails third quarter, he's going to play golf. He'll have to sit out the very first golf event. What if Mr. Miller is a junior and fails the fourth quarter? He wants to play football. He would have to, one or two things there. I'd allow him to go to summer school and get that grade to passing, or he'd have to sit out the first football game. In addition with that, we put a new rule in here. A new policy is if a student withdraws from a class after, and that's the key word, is after They add drop date. With a failing grade, the student will be ineligible according to our academic ineligibility policy, which the person would have to sit out one event the next quarter. And that's something new that we have put in our academic eligibility. Out of school suspension. Any athlete or student athlete that's in an activity that's out of school suspension cannot go to practice that day or cannot participate in an event that night. So out of school suspension, no practice, no games. Hours that need to be in school. 3. You have to be 3 hours. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, 6th. We really prefer 5, 6, and 7. If you're in there for 3 hours, you can go to practice, you can play in that event. Now, what happens if we have an emergency or a family funeral, a dentist appointment that we have to go to St. Cloud for? Just give us a call. We are willing to work with you. So don't be afraid to call Mr. Kehoe or myself. If you have a family funeral that's down in Redwood Valley, you have a contest that night in Paynesville, an example, please call us. We'll get the student athlete there. Chemical eligibility. This is an entire school year, 12 months. This goes on with the Minnesota State High School League. The myth is once there is no school, the summertime, this does not pertain. Yes, it does. It's a 12-month Minnesota State High School League entire calendar year. Regardless of the quantity, students shall not use, consume, or have in possession a beverage containing alcohol, use, consume, or have in possession tobacco. This includes smokeless cigarettes. Use, consume, or have in possession, buy, sell, or give away any other controlled substance or drug. Let's talk about Category 1 activities. These activities which school has a schedule, interscholastic contest, all 19 of our sporting teams. Our fine arts would be speech, trap shooting, and math league. Students must be in attendance the first day of practice if they are to complete a violation during that season. Category 1 penalties. The first violation is 2 consecutive contests or 14 calendar days of a season, which whenever is greater, in which the student is a participant. Second violation is 6 consecutive events or 21 calendar days, which whenever is greater. The third violation, 12 consecutive events or 28 calendar days, which one is ever greater. To give you an idea how this could affect people differently, if I'm Mr. Miller, I'm in football. Football plays Friday. So this would be 2 consecutive events for him. If I'm Jody Arndt and I'm playing volleyball, I have a first violation. She could miss up to 4 events because usually volleyball plays 2 games a week. There's 4 games in that 14 calendar days. So it does affect everybody in different sports differently. All right, Category 1 penalties. After the third violation, a student who becomes a participant in a treatment program may become eligible for participation after a minimum period of 6 weeks after entering the treatment under these conditions. The student is assessed chemically dependent and the student enters the treatment voluntarily and successfully completes. Category 2 activities, these are ones that usually do not have a school schedule of contest. Your music contest, 1-act play, robotics, school plays, musicals, BPA, FCCLA, and FFA. The penalties, the first violation is 1 event. The second violation is 2 events. The third violation is 3 events. Just give you an example, fall musical. We have 4 days or 4 shows for fall musical: Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night. If one of our people in fall musical had a violation, they would have to sit out Thursday's event before they could go on the show on Friday. Category 3 basically is our homecoming royalty. A person could not be part of the homecoming royalty for 6 months after notifying the school. So within 6 months of our homecoming royalty and you had a violation, you cannot be part of that royalty. Penalties become accumulated once the student enters 7th grade, continuing through the student's high school career. There is a myth out there that this only happens when you're in high school, 10, 11, 12. No. If Mr. Miller gets a violation in 8th grade, that's violation number 1. If Mr. Miller gets a violation in 10th grade, that's violation number 2. If a student denies guilt and is later found guilty, 9 additional weeks beyond the student's original period of ineligibility will be added to that penalty. Student athletes must finish the season in the sport in which they are serving the penalty. Example, Jody Arndt is in volleyball. She finishes the season out. Her violation is done for volleyball. She can go out basketball, no violation. Jody Arndt does not finish volleyball. She would have to, if she goes out for basketball, she would have to serve that violation now in basketball. There is a due process fair hearing. A fair hearing process is provided for all students who wish to appeal the school's determination of students' eligibility. Please check the league website, www.minnesotastatehighschoolleague.org, for more information. All right, captains, officers. If I have a violation, within that season I'm serving my violation, I cannot be a captain or an officer. But once I serve my penalty, for instance, if Jody was on a volleyball team, she had a violation. A lot of violations Jody's getting. Jody could not be a captain on a volleyball team, but she finishes the volleyball season out, served her penalty, it's complete. As she goes to basketball, Jody could be a captain for the basketball team. If a captain or officer is found to have involved in any hazing activity, they will lose their captainship or officer position. Captains, officers who receive a student code of conduct from the principal will also. Reporting violations. It's very difficult when allegations of violation is reported anonymously. If you're going to report a violation of a student, please call Mr. Eckern or Mr. Keyhole to discuss these allegations. Here's an example, and this has happened to me as an activity director a few times. I've gotten a letter saying, Jody Arndt, once again, Jody's in trouble. Jody Arndt was drinking last night at a party. The letter is not signed by anybody. It's anonymous. That letter will end up in the filing cabinet. I'm just telling you right now. It'll be filed, basically in the garbage can. So if you are going to send a letter, you're going to send an email, a text about a violation, please put your name with it. Otherwise, it does find the filing cabinet, which is usually my garbage can. Cell phones, internet. Cell phones, folks, let's be smart. The cloud is alive, it's well, it works. Pictures are there forever on the website, up in the cloud. Be smart about that. Be common sense. You know, when in doubt, don't take that picture. When in doubt, don't send that picture. Cell phones also. We don't want cell phones in the locker room. We've had, in the past, problems of cell phones being in the locker and kids getting themselves in trouble. So when it comes to cell phones, internet, be smart. All right, lettering criteria. All coaches that have lettering, plus we have some activities such as trap shooting, one-act play, we can letter in. Coaches, advisors, directors will have a letter of content that tells you how the student athlete can letter in their sport or activity. If any Minnesota chemical, alcohol, tobacco, or drug penalty served during that season causes the students to lose their athletic privilege. Now, once again, if they served their penalty, Mr. Miller's out for football, had a violation, he cannot letter during the football season, but once the season's over, he's completed his violation, Mr. Miller could letter on the hockey team, as long as he meets the criteria that Coach Day has for lettering in hockey. All right, let's talk about bus behavior. All students, basically we need all students to conduct themselves on bus trips and visiting venues in an appropriate manner. Please listen to your coaches. Please listen to your bus drivers. Our bus drivers are awesome. They do a great job. They love what they do. They love taking our kids, picking up routes. They like taking our kids to activities. We expect you as student athletes in all activities to behave in a good manner. Example of this behavior is changing clothes on a bus. No. We're not going to change any clothes on any bus. Other public areas, public urination, mooning, and being disrespectful. In other words, don't put your window down and wave to somebody. Keep that window up. Be respectful of people around you. Let's talk about transportation. The Morris area schools will transfer all of our kids to the event, whether it's BPA, whether it's volleyball, cross country, track and field, FFA. Students may ride home only with their parent or guardian following the event and must have them present to the coach in writing a note. So if you can ride home. I would do this before you get on the bus, the day before. Mr. Henrich, I'm going to go home with my parents after the cross-country meet. Here's a note from my mother. Mr. Henrich is also going to say, I'm going to visit with your parent afterwards. I want to have eye contact with them. So keep that in mind too, parents, that we are not going to send our child home with other kids. We're not going to send our child home with an 18, 19-year-old friend. It's going to be you. Now, in circumstances arise where an athlete must ride home with another parent, set this up ahead of time. In other words, Jody Arndt wants to ride home with Mr. Miller's parents on Friday after the volleyball game. Set this up Thursday. Email me, email the volleyball coach, put us both together. I would like my daughter Jody to ride home with Mr. Miller's parents after the volleyball game. But please set this up. What's not going to happen, I guarantee this, folks, is after the volleyball game and Jody goes, I want to ride home with Mr. Miller's parents, Coach Peterson, is that okay? No, that's not okay. We want to set everything up. Your child's safety is our number one concern. So we want to make sure we have notes, and we also want to have eye contact with those parents as coaches. All right, student code of responsibility. I will respect the rights and beliefs of others. I will be responsible for my own actions and consequences of those actions. I will respect the rights and properties of others. I will show respect and obey the rules of my school and law of my community, state, and country. I will respect those who are responsible for enforcing the rules of my school and the laws of my community, state, and country. Penalties for those student conduct, code of conduct, responsibility, and not good standing, and is ineligible for a period of time as determined by the high school principal. A student may lose their lettering or captainship, officer privilege, depending on the severity of that violation. Minnesota State High School League behavior expectations. Please respect the flag and national anthem. Use appropriate language at all time. Profanity, negative chants, booing, trash talking, name calling, and personal attacks are unacceptable. Respect the game and the contest. Also respect the officials. Artificial noisemakers are not allowed. Appropriate clothing must be worn, which covers the entire torso. Ejections from a contest. If a student coach is disqualified from interscholastic contest, they, by an official, and will be ineligible for the remaining of that game and the next regular season game or meet. The second a violation carries a 4-game suspension. If the penalty is imposed at the end of the sporting season and no contest remains, the penalty will carry over to the particular sport until the next year. In case of a senior, it'll carry into the next sport season. Fighting. A student who's involved in a fighting during a sporting competition will follow the Minnesota State High School League guidelines for ejection, the slide we talked about before. Assault. Assault on any person, including game officials, will not be condoned by the Minnesota State High School League and will be dealt with by the school administration or local authorities. Assault on a game official, any deliberate attempt to inflict bodily harm on an official, referee, umpire, judge, score, timer, etc. Penalties is disqualification for participation in Minnesota State High School League activity for a minimum of 4 weeks. Curfew. Now, this is a suggested curfew. 10 o'clock at home at weeknights and before games. Parents or coaches may set an earlier time. 12:30 a.m. at home on weekends. Parent coaches may set an earlier time. Now, here's an example. What if Jody Arndt on the volleyball team works at Willie's? It's Wednesday night. She knows she has to work to 10 o'clock. Jody just needs to call her coach and say, Coach Peterson, I have to work tonight at Willie's to 10 o'clock. I'm not going to get home until at least 10 20, I'm letting you know. Do with it, use common sense, take care of that in a timely manner. So if someone does report to you and say, hey, I saw Jody Arna at 10:20 on a weeknight. Like I said, this is suggested. Please, athletes, let your coaches, advisors, directors know. Physicals. Physicals are needed every 3 years. After major surgery, a serious illness or injury, a doctor's release is needed before the athlete can resume practice or contest. Now, Minnesota State High School League, due to COVID-19, any physicals after March 13, 2020 can be extended for 1 year. For an example, I'm a 9th grader. I had physical in 7th grade, 8th grade. I get to my 9th grade year, I'm done. I need to get a physical for my sophomore year. If I had that physical after March 13th, 2020, I get an extension on that physical. So that physical is now good for 4 years. What is my role? You can only pick one. If you're a player, be a player. If you're a coach, be the coach. If you're a parent, just be the parent. Go there with a positive attitude. Cheer on your team. If you're an administrator, just be the administrator. And you're an official, be an official. But you only can pick one of these. We don't want you to be two. All right, conferences with coaches. The Minnesota Morris Area High School coaching staff and athletic director are always willing to meet with parents. Parents, we request a 24-hour period before discussing concerns following a game, a match, or a meet. Cooler heads prevail. If you're hot at the end of a ball game, you're upset about the coaching, you're upset about the athletic director, you're upset about the refs, let it go for 24 hours, I'm asking you, please. Just let it go. Then we're going to use the chain of command. Player can go to the coach. Coach can go to the player. Player and coach, parent, a player parent can go to the coach. Then the parent and coach, if they don't like that, they can go to the athletic director. You as a parent, you want to come in and talk about Mr. Miller's playing time. And if you walk in my office, my very first question to the Millers are, Mr. and Mrs. Miller, have you talked to the head coach yet? And if they say yes, I'll ask them to sit down and we'll discuss. If they say no, I'm going to say, would you please go visit with the coach? 95% of everything gets resolved when the parents go visit with the coach. Remember, the coaches have the best interest of your student athlete, your son and daughter and mine. They see them in practice every day, whether it's the fall musical, whether it's wrestling practice, hockey, whether it's softball practice. They see them. They have the best interests. They wouldn't coach if they didn't have the best interests of your son or daughter. All right, here's a slide that our community ed director, Mr. Tony Reimers, shared with me. I just want to share it with you as I talk a little bit about here, but reminder from your child. I'm only a kid. It's just a game. A lot of times my coaches volunteer. The officials are human. No college scholarships will be handed out today. And kind of put that in retrospect. In the whole state of Minnesota, our graduating class this coming 2021, of all the activity, all the athletes, only 3% of them will go on and play college sports. Less than half of that 3% will get a scholarship. So let's keep it positive this year. Let's keep it fun for our kids because 97% of these kids are not going to go on and play college sports. But let's have them have a positive experience and leave with a positive experience this year. All right, to transfer rule. The Minnesota State High School League does have transfer rules. It's a cookie cutter transfer rule. One size is for the whole state of Minnesota. This is what I'm going to ask you. If you are planning to transfer out of Morris, Minnesota, and go to another school, please come and visit with me if your son or daughter are going to go play activities at another school. I will help you and tell you whether your son or daughter will be eligible or not. I will not steer you wrong. I will help you. So if you have questions about the transfer rule, please come in. And you know somebody that's transferring to Morris, have them call me right away because I can explain the transfer rule to you. It's long. It has a lot of detail to it. Instead of trying to explain it to you here, I'll just say, call me up. I'll help you with the transfer rule. Amateur status. A student may not receive cash or merchandise for athletic participation. A student does not lose amateur status because of reimbursement from officiating, instructing, teaching, or coaching a sport. I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, we had two seniors that wanted to ref junior high basketball. They got paid to ref junior high basketball. They're helping us out, and they still kept their amateur status there. If you have any questions about this, if you have a son or daughter that's on the golf circuit making a lot of money, might want to contact me. Non-school competition. And this is the one that gets kind of tricky here, folks, now with our fall participation practice for football, volleyball, baseball, softball, track and field, and golf. More information, like I said, more information's coming out. And I don't have all the answers right now. Hopefully we can get answers by the end of this week or next week. But during the high school season, a student may not compete as a member of a team or as an individual competition in non-school sponsored games, meets, tournaments, or contests in the same sport. So if Jody is out for basketball during the season, Jody could not play AAU basketball during the season. And like I said, there's more information coming out this week from the State High School League about fall practice for football, volleyball, baseball, softball, golf, and track and field. During the school year, a student may participate in contests, meets, or tournament as an individual competitor or as a member of a non-school team, provided that these activities are volunteer and non-influenced and directed by a salary or non-salary member of the B squad, sophomore, JV, or varsity coaching staff. In other words, Jody's playing basketball. Now it's springtime, basketball's out of season. She can go play AAU basketball during the springtime and the summertime. It's just long the coach is telling her what team she should play for and not play for. Hazing, racial, religious, sexual harassment, violence will not be tolerated at Morris Area High School. If you as a student know someone that's harassing you religiously, sexual harassment, religious harassment, hazing, let myself, let Mr. Keyhole, let a teacher know. But please, we do not going to tolerate this. But if you know something's happening and it's happening to you, please report it so we can help you. Penalties for violation. The first violation for harassment, lose eligibility for the next 2 contests or 2 weeks, whichever is greatest. The second violation is six contests or 3 weeks, whichever greater. Third violation, 12 events or 4 weeks. Basically the same violations for penalty number 1 for athletics. Mel Felstool Leadership Award. This is through the Morris Lions. They select student athletes who exhibit excellence in school, community, academics, and athletic activities. Student must apply for this award on a yearly basis. You can visit with Jody or our counselor for more information. The Carter Ludy Award, in memory of Carter Ludy, who earned 12 varsity letters in football, basketball, baseball, and track. To get the Carter Ludy Award, our student athlete must earn 8 letters at Morris area schools, participate in athletics in all 3 sporting seasons, all 3 years in grades 10, 11, and 12. Senior Athlete of the Year, a 3-sport winner during their senior year. Letter winner, no Minnesota State High School violations during their senior year. Athletic accomplishment, leadership, and community involvement. This award is chosen by all of our coaches. AAA Award, this is the Minnesota State High School League Academic Arts and Athletics Award. Must be a high school senior at the time of nominations. Nominations are limited to 2 qualifying students per school, 1 male, 1 female. Have a grade point average of 3.0. That leaves Mr. Miller and I out. Or higher at the date of nomination. Participate in a league sponsor, athletics, or fine arts. Comply with the Minnesota State High School League Student Code of Conduct and complete the application form and submit it to Mr. Ekron. So you submit it to me. We will then pick a male and female for AAA award. We send our winners on to subsection. The subsection, there's 8 boys, 8 girls. Winner for boy and a girl go on to the region, which is made up of 4 different subsections. And then you have 1 winning male and female that go on to the state. It's a great award if you get this award. Okay, online registration. You heard enough of me, so I'm going to turn this over to Jody. here in about a minute. She's going to talk about online registration. Remember, we don't have all the answers right now. A lot of moving pieces into place. We do know this. We do know that tennis will start on Monday. Cross country, boys and girls will start on Monday. And girls swimming will start on Monday. Those seasons will be shortened by 20%. The competition will be shortened by 30%. For an example, cross country usually has 10 meets. Now we're only going to have 7 meets. We are going to have a conference schedule only for tennis, a conference schedule only for cross country, and a conference schedule only for swimming and diving, with a possibility of a non-conference for each one of those. Football and volleyball will have a fall participation for practice only. Baseball, softball, track and field, and golf will also have a fall participation for track as coaches as they seem needed. One thing I do want to talk about, we've had a lot of people ask, can I play 4 seasons this year since the Minnesota State High School League is playing 4 seasons? I'm like, yes, let's try it. Let's do this. But if I'm Jody Arndt and I want to go out for tennis, I'm also a volleyball and softball player or volleyball track and field runner. We'll use those as an example. Jody Arndt's number one concern this fall is going to tennis practice and going to the tennis meets. What we don't want is kids to go out for a fall sport and then go to tennis or go to a track practice, go to a volleyball practice. If you are going to go out for tennis or girls swimming or boys or girls cross country, that is your number one sport. That's your primary for that. Any questions on that, please call. We'll help you, guide you, but yes. I know one of my neighbor girls said, Mr. Eckern, I want to go for cross country. I want to be a 4-letter winner my senior year. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. You go for it. All right, I'm done talking. You heard enough of me. I'm going to turn over to Jody. Like I said, a lot of moving pieces, tons and tons of moving pieces. We get more information as we go. We'll get that information out to you. But I'm going to turn it over to Jody and talk about registration.
All right, it's time to talk about online registration. So we're back at the Athletics and Activities tab on our school webpage, and we're going to go back over on the right-hand side where all the links are. Earlier we had talked about the calendar. We're going to talk about online registration right now. There is a quick start guide, so if you get stuck anywhere in the registration process, this quick start guide has pictures and explanations. Also, if you do need an athletic physical this year, the blank form is right there. Oh, I hope I didn't click on that. Activity fees, if you're curious about what any of the fees are. A link, earlier Mr. Eckern talked about the sports boosters. This is a link to their page, and email contacts are on there. The Minnesota State High School League homepage, there's a link if you want to go onto that. The COVID-19 notice that was put out by Minnesota State High School League, and then again the Notify Me updates. We're going to go back to this online registration. So any athlete who participates in a sport, a fall sport is what we're going to talk about specifically. So tennis, swimming, or cross country need to do the online registration process. Also, if you're going to be in the fall musical, you'll also have to do the online registration process. The online registration process, actually there's 3 parts to it. You need to complete this form, you need to have a valid athletic physical, and you also need to pay the fee. So this is what the page looks like. Our Chicago, Alberta students and Morris students use the same page. So you will click on whichever school you go to. So you're a Morris student, you'll click on Morris Area Activity Registration. And from here, if you, in the past, have a student who's been in a sport, you would do your family account login. If you have questions about your username or password, please call me. If this is your first, maybe you have a 7th grade student, or the first time you have someone going out for a sport, you would create a family account. And essentially what the screen looks like, it essentially walks you through these 6 steps. Any area that has an asterisk is a required field. Any area that does not have an asterisk, you can go ahead and skip over that, or go ahead and supply it whatever you're most comfortable with. It will require you to fill out every asterisk field before you can go ahead and go to the next page. So I'm not going to be able to do that right now, but let me see. There is a step on here for physical forms. That does not have an asterisk, so it's not required. That's something that you can go ahead and email to me. You can mail it, you can drop it off, whatever. I will take care of entering your physical form. You can also scan it and upload it if you want to. Okay, the parent, guardian information, and the medical information is all super important. It goes on a coach's app that your coach has access to, so if the coach is out of town with your student and something would happen, the coach has all the information right on their phone. So whatever information you put on there, please make sure it's accurate and up to date. If you have any changes, you can go in and edit this form at any time. So once you get all the way through the 6 steps, you'll be asked to submit a payment. The payment will automatically come up for you. If you happen to qualify for free or reduced lunches, your fee will be different than what the program tells you to pay. At that point, just hit pay later and go ahead and give me a call, and I'll get that adjusted for you so we can get the correct amount in there for you to pay. Once that process is all done and you hit submit, you will receive an email saying that your student is registered for the sport. Typically in the past, we've had the students come up to the office and pick up a yellow slip that they would then take to practice. We're going to skip that step this year. So there will be no yellow slips. Once you get that email, just know that you're taken care of. If you have any questions, feel free to call the office and I'll double check it for you, but I'll be in contact directly with the coaches so they will know which athletes are eligible to come to practice that very first day. So with that, I think that's about it for the online registration process. I can't think of anything else. So if you have any questions, please give me a call or email me. I'm happy to help you. Thank you so much for watching our presentation today. I hope that it was helpful. I hope it answered more of your questions than it created. We will be in contact with any updates as we get them, and go Tigers!